Not many were fancying England's chances for even a solitary victory in this 5-test series. Even the most optimistic wouldn't have given them any shot at the end of day 2 of the Hyderabad test. But well, here we are. England have completed a dramatic turnaround, sealed what Ben Stokes has labelled one of their most special victories in his captaincy reign. And Steve Harmison is a happy and proud man as he joins us. Steve, a result that absolutely no one saw coming. 190-run deficit from the first innings, 163 for 5. I'm sure people were ready for an early pack-up. Where does this rank in the history of England's test wins away from home?
I think it's an unbelievable victory. I think there's one person thought they could win. That was Ben Stokes. I really think he's the only person. And he got 10 other people to believe it as well. Because you're right. I think not many would have given England a prayer 190 behind. But this is the beauty about this team. They go and they don't look at the scoreboard. They just go, right, we're batting third innings. And wherever we get to at the end of the third innings, that's what we're going to have to do to sort of combat the game in the fourth innings. Ollie Pope was unbelievable. He had to win because I would hate it for that 196 in India when your highest score is 34 in 9 innings. For you to then get 196 and be on the losing side. I'm so pleased for Ollie Pope, so proud of the England cricket team, so proud of Ben Stokes for leading the way he has done. And it gives England a great start in this series, which India are still, I still think, are favourites. But this victory has given India a lot to think about because I thought India, especially Rohit Sharma's captaincy, got caught wanting in that third innings of this game.
Right. Yeah, the third innings is where all of it changed. The hero on the match sealing day, of course, Tom Hartley. And he quite aptly represents the sea change in this game itself, doesn't he, Harmy? Because at the end of the first innings, many were wondering why is someone who has played as little first-class cricket being played here. Here he is with a 7-4, one of the best figures by any visiting bowler in India. How did Tom Hartley change things so dramatically in the course of an innings?
Well, I think he calmed down. I think the sort of realization that you've already made your debut, I think having to make your debut, take the new balls, there was a lot of things going that there was alien to him going into that first innings. I think there was a lot of nerves, naturally, when it comes to it. But there was a lot of belief in backing him, not only from a selection point of view, from the management, but from the players getting right behind him. And he said that in an interview afterwards where he talked about how his team helped him. But it's still the human element of what Tom Hartley went through to show character and resilience from an individual to come back and perform the way he did was brilliant. I thought his pace was spot on. I thought his lengths were much better in the second innings. The first innings, he looked nervous. He looked as though he was trying to bowl a one-day type, which was to try and get underneath the bat, to bowl a lot fuller, where in the second innings he bowled a little bit slower, he bowled that little bit shorter length to try and drag the bat forward. And then because it was turning, his height, his release position made him very, very dangerous. And I thought he got off to a good start. Jaiswal got after him in the first innings, and the first initial throws put him under massive pressure. I thought in the second innings he bowled beautifully in the backing of the team, the backing of the captaincy. You know, the captain give him protection to get him into the game, into the second innings. I think all in all, I thought it was a wonderful effort for Team England to get round Tom Hartley, and he repaid them with a wonderful performance.
A word on the star spinner from the first innings as well, Harmy. Joe Root had a quiet game with the bat, but we spoke about his importance with the ball. And in the first innings, where the other English spinners weren't finding much, Root was so crucial perhaps to keeping India down to, say, below 450.
He was, and he uses his experience. Obviously, Joe thinks as a batter, so with him being able to think as a batter, his nous, his experience of touring this part of the world and understanding what you need to do as a bowler out here really helped England. And if it wasn't for Joe Root in the first innings, I think India give England quite a few wickets, and that'd be the disappointing thing. But once Joe Root got his sniff of the ball turning, men round the bat, he really put India under pressure, India's batters under pressure. So he joked after, and he said under his captaincy, he bowled Ben Stokes into the ground. got a funny feeling in this series, this 5-test match series, Ben Stokes is going to bowl Joe Root into the ground, because I think England might play one less spinner in the test matches coming up, and then that means Joe Root will be even more vital. But to bowl, what did he bowl? Nearly 50 overs in the test match. I think that would be a slight concern because of what we need from a batting point of view. But his bowling was brilliant in both innings for me, not just in the first innings.
From a batting perspective, how big an upshot is it for England that in a test where Joe Root contributed as little, even Johnny Bairstow didn't contribute much, they've finished with the size of scores that they have?
I think that came down to the openers that set the tone. Didn't score massively, but I thought Ben Duckett in the third innings of the match, I think, hopefully from England, has put a marker down towards the Indian bowlers, and I'm sure the Indian bowlers will come back. But to get 420 the way England did, the tone was set by Ben Duckett. Rohit Sharma, I don't think, had a clue what was happening to him from a captaincy point of view, because many times he looked as though he was just thinking, well, it's high risk reverse sweep, they'll hit one up in the air, and we've got 190 runs on the board. And I think that mindset, I think by the middle of the afternoon, I think England had India's bowlers scratching their heads on how to work out how this England team bat now in the modern day game. So from that initial first blow that they throw against India, then Ollie Pope took over from there. And I think the difference between the first and second innings is, in the first innings, England either blocked it or tried to hit it for 4 or 6. I think in the second innings, England tried to rotate the strike, and I thought to give India the runaround for quite a bit of that time, and then access the boundaries when the big shot was on. So I think that was the difference between the first and second innings, and that's why I think England have made India think about their game plan, not only their lines and lengths, but their fields going forward against this new and exciting England batting unit.
Just on that, the extent to which England committed to playing the sweep or the reverse sweep, and also the efficiency with which they deployed it, does that become a big theme for this series going forward? It's given India a lot to think about, and perhaps in the second test we'll get a first glimpse of how England respond to India responding to the same. Well,
it depends if India set the same fields. If India are going to have 2 men on the leg side and bowl the way they bowled, then the reverse sweep is a safe shot, because all you have to do is get enough on it for the wicketkeeper not to catch it, and it's in the gap. There was about 100 yards of wide open green grass on the leg side for the England players to hit it in. So I think that's what comes with this team, this new Bazball era that England have got. A lot of teams that England have played over the course of the time that McCullum and Stokes have been involved, it has been, you'll not do it against us. South Africa thought that. New Zealand thought that. Going to Pakistan, it'll not happen. And I think India are just getting a glimpse that England play in a certain way. And if you believe that you're not going to change your game plan accordingly to go with the way England play, then all of a sudden you'll end up scratching your head. And I think that's what happened to Rohit Sharma in this game. I thought Ben Stokes out-captained him in the whole test match. And I think a few of the spin bowlers were looking to the captain to go, well, why don't we have a fielder there? Why don't we have a fielder there? But I think because they had 190 runs in lead, I think India were expecting England to make a mistake, give their wicket away like India did, and they'd fall by the wayside, and India would win by a comfortable margin. And I think by the time they really got to grips of it, England were away and out of sight, and all of a sudden the confidence factor that came into the England batting put massive pressure onto India chasing. And when India chase with Virat Kohli, it tends to be a comfortable chase. And I think we've just seen without Virat Kohli, there's a few cracks appeared.
And that is where England will look to exploit. They will go into Vizag with a 1-0 lead. Can they dream of the unthinkable, Steve?
They have to dream as the unthinkable. I still think India are favourites in this series. They're playing at home. They've still got 3 top quality spinners. I know Mohammad Siraj didn't have the greatest of games, but Jasprit Bumrah I thought he was outstanding. There was a passage of play when Jasprit Bumrah, on day 3, when Bumrah bowled and he got ducked out, and then he got root out LBW. That was an unbelievable bit of Test match cricket for an hour. I mean, if you weren't gripped by that, even if you're a Test match hater and you're a franchise lover, you had to love the way that passage of play went. But England have got to believe that they've give India something to think about, and we'll see what happens in Vizag going forward.
All right, then. So the stage is set for a series which will be far more evenly contested than all of us had imagined. Well done to England. Thank you, Steve Harmison, for your company through this first test. Look forward to your thoughts and time over the course of the second. It is truly rare. Only the fourth time in their last 47 tests spanning over a decade that India have lost at home.